Okay, so I'm going to talk through this real quick to get us right to where we are since I started the recording late. The names that we've given it, or that we're going to be going through, is the report object name. R stands for report. The 55 means that it's going to be a custom report, obviously, since we don't work for Oracle directly. All ours will be 55 through 59. It's going to be a columnar report, and that's why they've chosen to name it the COL. And the 09 actually is related to the business view that we're going to be attached to it, because you notice the first two digits in the business view represents the subsystem for that business view, and that is the GL system or the financial system. And we'll see that in a minute. So also, this is going to be the name of the object. Or, well, I'm sorry. This down here, this GL transaction detail, is going to be the name of the report. And so we're getting all this information from the sample that the client has given us, saying we want this stuff. So as Chris identified, it's going to be columnar. And so how many columns are we going to be adding to this report?
I count 8.
8. Exactly. So just something that you guys are going to get used to: batch number, document type, document number. JE line number is journal entry line number. Business unit, object account, subsidiary. I see it's all blank here, so you might go, what is that? Well, that's the business unit, object account, and subsidiary makes up 98% of all of the accounts for a company. And think of it as internal accounts, just like your checking account and your savings account are all internal to the bank. These are where your buckets of money reside when you're in a company. And of course, these are the amounts of the monies that are associated with those accounts. So let's go ahead and see about making this. So we're going to go to our object management workbench, and we're going to do a find to bring up our project. And I'm just going to continue to use the project that I've been working with. And you guys let me know when you have your project open, and it may just be objects and nothing underneath it. That's okay. And when you have that project highlighted, just let me know.
Oh, okay. I was going to start a new one.
Start a new project?
Well, I was going to name it R5509COL with the description of GL transaction detail practice project. So.
It's okay to put it in the project you have, because we're going to do that naming to the report once we've added it to our project. So,
Just look
What-
for it. I've got it highlighted.
okay, Chris,
Yeah,
okay, so now we're gonna
Yeah.
hit the add button. And go ahead and, because I'm much faster at this, you guys talk me through it. Go ahead and hit the add button. And what do you see?
How do I get to the screen you're on? I forget how to get there. I always end up going directly into report design aid.
Okay, so there's several different ways. One is under tools, you can go to object management workbench.
Okay,
You can fast path by typing OMW and hitting the enter key, and that brings it up. Obviously, for me, it brings it up much faster than what you're going to see. And then under in the menus, you can open up these folders, and under object management, the very first entry, you can double click on that
the window rather than the application. Okay,
and bring up object management workbench. So.
mine is not responding.
You might have to give it some time. And Chris, have you hit the add button?
yes.
And have you gotten to the next screen yet?
Mhm.
Go ahead and describe it to me.
Okay, there are object librarian objects, which include batch application, business view, among others.
Okay, so it's a list of all the objects that you can create from the object management workbench.
Mhm.
And the one that we want to select is the batch application. So that's going to be the second entry. Steve, any luck getting to there yet?
I'm still on OMW projects menu. It's opening, or it looks, I can't tell if it's trying to open or not.
And so did you highlight the project you were on, or had you even gotten that far yet?
I haven't even gotten that far yet. I'm still trying to open the folder.
Okay,
Doesn't seem to want to open or do anything.
okay,
There we go.
so
Nice.
I'm going to click on batch application. And then I'm going to hit the OK button. We're going to have to, so this part, what we're doing right now is this, we're just creating the object name for this
Gotcha.
and information about it. So when you hit OK, it's going to ask you some various things like, what is the object name that you want to create? And I'm going to move this over to another screen so I can look at them at the same time. And the object name is going to be what, Chris?
R5509COL.
Yes.
Did we select anything other than batch application?
We hit that we used the radio button to hit batch application and then said OK.
Okay.
So it sounds to me like you're catching up.
R5509COL.
And so what is the description we're going to type in there?
I don't have it pulled up over here, so, but I'm guessing it's whatever the title of it was.
Yes.
Transaction practice.
Now we're going to leave this as an update report. Back when I first started developing, there was only ever UBE or table conversion. And then they started to say, you know what, with the UBEs, a lot of times we want to let people be able to get information, but not actually change any data. And that became a whole special problem because a lot of times the things they have to do in order to get the information, they actually are kind of changing some of, updating some of the data in order to access it. And I know that's a really weird concept to think about, but for now, just know that any reports you make, even if you're not explicitly trying to update information, just select update the update report for the radio button. So now what should we put in for product code and product system code?
55.
Yes. So for, in fact, I have seen a lot of times they will put in these two numbers. So product code gets 55 and the product system code, even though it defaults 55 in there, let's go ahead and make it an 09.
Mm.
And then we're just going to go ahead and say OK. So go ahead and click on the OK button once you've entered all this information. And just say done when you've got it.
It even
Done.
shows you that it's general accounting and everything.
What's that?
I've got a summary thing came up, batch application design.
Did you hit OK after this?
I did,
Okay.
and this is what popped up.
This
Maybe I
thing.
hit it on the wrong one. No, must have.
Did you hit this thing?
Window.
Do you see my screen?
Well, I'm looking at others while you're talking to me. So what did I click what?
After you hit the OK button, did you get what you see on my screen?
No, we entered the information on that screen and you already told us to hit OK. So we're on the next screen, I thought.
Please look at my screen.
I am. And I see object management workbench batch application design is still open.
And you're saying this summary that you were talking about is not this tab here?
It was, but you had already said to hit OK on that screen.
So I said to hit OK on the add screen. And this, I had not yet hit it. When I hit the OK button, it took me here. And so this is where I wanted you to be. Chris, are you there?
Yes.
All right. Stay there. Steve, You went back to this screen then, correct?
No, no, it's not where it took me. I hit OK on the other screen, I guess. And that was G dash.
Resume recording. Okay, so we're gonna get all of us up to the same point. Okay. Both of you have this on your screen, correct?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's go to the Design Tools tab. And then the first button is Start Report Design Date. Now, when I start this, what do you think is going to come first? So
the
every
exact
time you
thing
first
that guides you
enter,
through it.
it comes up with the report director,
That's
the little help thing. So let's go ahead and go into there. And you let me know when this pops up for you.
ready.
Okay. Chris, are you here too?
Just, oh boy,
Okay.
just about. Yep, I'm there.
Okay. Now, on the report, there was a page header, so we were good with page header. We have columnars, so our first section is going to be columnar, so that's good. Didn't see a page footer, so we're not going to add a page footer. So let's go ahead and press the next button. Now, is there anything we want to do here? Do we want page N of total?
No, it just said page one. It didn't say page of.
Correct. So we're not going to check this. So go ahead and hit next. And then how do we want to find our business view? We're going to find the business view ourselves. So click on that and click next.
So did we uncheck the box on the previous screen?
No. On the previous screen, we have the automatically add the default information fields shown below, but we don't want to add the page N of total. So we're leaving that blank and we're hitting the next button. Let me know when you're good with that.
I'm good.
Okay. And we're going to find the business view ourselves. So click the radio button and then I'll find a business view myself. And so what are we going to do here? Any ideas?
Search by product code.
We could search by product code. Absolutely. What product code are we going to put in here?
55.
Well, the business view that they told us to use wasn't a 55.
So 09.
Exactly. So we could put an 09 in here. I would prefer if you guys didn't follow me on this part, because your system is not going to be so fast that it could populate this. It'd probably be slow. But on that report, it actually did tell us what the business view was that they wanted us to use. So I am going to highlight it and hit Control C to copy it. And then I'm going to go back to my form. And since I would have to scroll a bunch, I'm just going to highlight the object name and hit paste. And then do a find. And I've narrowed it down to one business view. So please go ahead and either type or copy that business view into the query by example above the object name and hit find.
Got it.
And then since there's only one business view, it's automatically selected by the black background. You can go ahead and hit the next button. And so let me know when both of you have hit the next button.
It's working on it.
I've pressed it also. It's working on it.
Okay. Same with you, Chris?
Mhm.
Okay. So while it's coming up for you, I'm going to talk a little about this. The business view, which is the window to the database for us, they give us a select number of fields, and I can sit there and scroll through all of these and see what's included. Now, according to that directed exercise, what is the first column I want to locate? Do you guys have the, what's
Looks
that?
like batch number.
Batch
Just
number.
got there.
Okay. So I'm going to highlight that and hit the right arrow. What is the next?
So I don't have the thing open because I've got you on one screen and my own on the other. So I'm not going to be able to answer any of these questions.
Okay. What is the next column going to be? Can you see what I'm sharing?
I can see
Uh,
report director.
Yeah, I only see that. But I
Oh, there we
have
go.
the exercise
Data
open.
or document
Doc
type.
type.
Doc type, doc number. Let's just do two at a time. So doc type and doc number.
Mine got to the selection layout and loaded, but it's still thinking.
Okay. So since the next two are document type and document number, and in fact, they're in the right order here, I'm going to highlight both of them as I hit the right arrow. So how is it going on yours, Steve?
There we go.
Has it loaded up the left side yet?
Yeah, wow, and now it's thinking again.
Okay.
I scroll down and tries to think again.
And Chris, are you here yet? Or is it thinking for you too?
I'm on the section layout. It's spinning.
Okay. Well, tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and walk through this part of it. And then I'm going to pause the recording so I can help you guys individually make sure we get this correct. Okay.
Okay.
So the next two fields are document type and document number. So I'm going to go ahead and move those over.
Journal entry line number.
The next one is journal entry line number, and that happens to be right here. And then the next is business unit object account subsidiary. Now, those are easy for me to remember because when I work with the accounts, those always are together and always in that order. So business unit object account and subsidiary. So I can move all three of those over at the same time. So I'm going to look for business unit. Did I miss it? Let's see.
I don't have document number.
It's actually the second one here.
Doc voucher invoice. Okay.
Yeah. So I was looking for business unit. And there it is, business unit. That's MCU. So, oh, and it's also known as cost center too. So I'm going to grab business unit and then object account and then subsidiary. Yes, it's subsidiary, and move those all over. And then I need to find the last column, which is amount. So I'm going to see if I can find that. And there's the amount right there. Happen to be in the right place for it. I'm going to move that over. And so the next thing I'm going to do is click on the next button. And we'll talk about what happens next. And I'll probably be pausing here in a second. And then we're going to talk about sequencing. So I don't know if you can tell if there's any order to this. It looks like it's ordered by batch number. It's definitely not ordered by document number since there's a 1008 up here and a 1006 down here. It's not by journal entry number. So I'm going to go with batch number. I'm going to order it by batch number based on this sample output we've been given. So batch number. There's batch type, but that's not it. Going to scroll down a little further. There's batch number. And I'm going to move that over.
So how come when I hit next, it showed all of them?
It showed all of them.
Yeah, they're all already put in there under sort columns. Yeah, it just went straight to define properties, sort properties. I don't have the dual screen like you do.
Hit back for a second. Where does back take you?
I see what happened. Never mind, I'm good.
Okay. Because the next button is probably that define sort properties.
It is.
And it should only contain the one that you've just selected for the sequencing. And then I'm going to click next. So we can make this a level break. Like we can say, hey, I want each new batch number to be on a different page by checking it, by making it a level break and then saying, I want it to page break. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to leave it in batch number ascending order, ascending, and I'm going to say next. And then we get to data selection. And I am just going to leave that blank for now. No, I don't like that. I'm going to force them to update it because I don't want this to run wide open. So I'm going to say where batch number, I'm going to double click. I double clicked on the where, I'm going to double click on batch number. I'm going to double click on is equal to and literal. I'm going to click on literal and say 951. Now that's just one of the examples in the example report output, but it's kind of nice that if somebody were to run this without changing that, it's not going to waste a whole bunch of paper. It's not going to waste a whole bunch of CPU time running when they haven't actually selected something. So I'm just going to say, we're going to put a default value in there. So if they don't set it to what they want, it won't waste a lot of the client's resources. So I'm going to say, okay to that. And here's our data selection. And then I'm going to go next. And then congratulations. Do you want to create a version of the report? And since we always need a version of the report, mine's going to be BB0001. And I'll talk about yours in just a second. After I'm going to go ahead and hit the finish button, and it's going to create all this for me. And there it is. And I'm going to pause the recording.
You're welcome.
Okay, so now that we have our report, I clicked on the save button, and then I'm going to do file and exit. And the exit action is actually where the version gets generated. And it's going to take me back to the screen. And if I hit OK, and I do a find on my project and reopen it, I'm going to double click and double click. And here is my report that I created. And here's the version of that report. So that's a good sign. And so, were you guys able to follow me there, or is it still refreshing for you?
Yeah, I'm there.
I never hit the OK. I'm still on the window. I didn't know if you wanted
Okay.
to follow.
Yeah, go ahead and hit the save and then the file and exit.
I did
And
that.
then hit the OK from on the where you were with the design tab and all the other tabs.
You go find first project, objects, and I have the blue circle of boredoms.
Yes. So while you're getting back to this point, I am going to go. I don't want you to follow me on this because this would take too long. But if I go to Universal Table Browser, I'm just going to click out of that. If I go to Solution Explorer and either double click here, or I am so used to just typing in UTB for Universal Table Browser and hit the enter button, it's going to invoke the Universal Table Browser. And I'm going to go, and as a reminder, the report was based on V0911G. So I'm pretty sure that the table I want to look at is the F0911. So I'm going to go open up the F0911 in the Universal Table Browser. And I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to look at the data. And I'm going to go see if there is a document well, I can't do it here because I'm not in Demo Junior. This is where I would compare the data and see if there was a 951 by putting a 951 in the doc number and hitting the find button and see if they do have data in there. So I could use this report. And I think you have the same, I think you have demo data. So we are going to run a report. We're going to play with the report and try running it. So we're going to go back into object. So you're here at Object Management Workbench. I want you to highlight that report that you just created and then go over to the design button. And we're going to click on the design button. And let me know when you're there.
There.
Steve, did we lose you? Is it plugged in? Okay. So Steve has a bad battery in that laptop, so
Oh no.
it just shut down on him. So I am going to continue on and he'll have the recording. So with the UBE highlighted, I'm going to go back into design. And under the design tools tab, there is a version list, and we're going to go over to version list. And we're going to click on that and go into it. And if you remember, that is the place where we have work with batch versions. And let me know when this comes up for you.
I have that.
Okay. So we are going to test run this. So I'm going to double click on this. Then I'm going to click on advanced because I want it to run just locally. And I'm going to say override location. Okay. Submit. And I think you determined on Demo Junior, all you had to do was run it and hit submit because it always ran local for you, right?
Yeah, I believe locals.
So you don't have to go through that advanced part. So I'm going to double click local and then I can hit enter or okay for on screen. And we're going to see if it's running here, and it did 2 pages. Uh-oh. But it says no data selected for me. So did it run for you?
I believe so. Here's me just a moment.
All right,
Can you hear me?
Steve. Yes. So it's probably going to take you a little bit to get caught up. We'll get you there. I'm going to pause the recording.